Siebert-Giller. We are talking about the UXQCC scheme, the scheme in the field of UX. And we want to learn a little bit more what is happening in this field, in this scheme. So Verena, you are an expert in the field of UX. Can you tell a little bit more about yourself?
I'm pleased to do so. I'm working in the field of UX for almost 30 years now. I'm a psychologist, which is maybe a bit awkward in the field, but I've been working as a UX consultant in lots of areas, beginning from safety critical areas to traditional software development, products with special needs, and very broad domains which I covered. And I also teach university courses where I got to know Robert, and we've been working together for almost 10 years now. And so, yes, this is very briefly my background, let's say. Yeah.
Yes, and you do it all over the world, in fact, right?
I do it all over the world.
Very nice.
Yes. Yeah.
And Robert, you are a professor, in fact, in this field. So could you please introduce yourself as well?
Thank you, Werner. I'm a professor for software engineering at the University of Applied Sciences Technikum Wien here in Vienna. And besides that, I'm also president of the UXPA Austria, the User Experience Professionals Association in Austria. And my background is teaching software engineers how to implement UX into their products, which is not very common at universities still up to date.
Yeah, very interesting field, in fact. So, and we all know each other already since many years and worked out in different schemes. And the UXQCC scheme is a very important one for us to have a closer look into the field of UX. Feel free for the next Ask Me Anything sessions also to send in your questions. We have 8 questions today, which is very nice. So we had a little bit more, but as usual, we are collecting the questions and putting them together. You will see that perhaps not your name is displayed or when you ask the question as well, but the question which you raised was then already answered or taken from another person. So I will start with the first question, which came from Switzerland. Angela asked, what is the UXQCC scheme? What is UXQCC?
Robert, do you want to start?
Okay, UXQCC is an organization built of experts from all around the world. There are people from the United States, from China, from Europe, from Australia. And the main objective of UXQCC is to define standards how UX teaching and how UX should be taught to people. And UXQCC formed standards. What are the minimum requirements for people who are working in the UX field, both from the UX side and from the software engineering side?
Very interesting, and I think it's a scheme which is consisting of several different layers, correct?
Yes, at the moment it consists of 3 different levels. The first level is the foundation level. The second level is the advanced level, and there's an expert level also.
Okay, and I think the next question is directly connecting to that. Chris from the UK was asking, how does the UXQCC personal certification work?
Well, maybe I could answer this because I give lots of courses. The idea is that the people who want to get certified, that we have a very well-defined body of knowledge that they should that they should know. So either in most cases they take a course, and we have courses all over the world, and it's between 2 and 3 days. It depends a bit on who's offering the course, and so the people really get to know all the content and they can practice it hands-on in the courses that they need for the certification. And then they take the exam, and with the exam, if they pass it, then they are certified. So it's very straightforward.
In fact, there's a big practical part in there as well in the scheme, right?
Yes, this is what we found very important when we started all this, that UX, if you only teach theory, it just doesn't work. You have to really apply the things. That's why we do have all the theory that is required, but we have we bring it in a way that it's very hands-on, that people know that how they can directly apply it. So it's not about learning things just to be able to just tell them, but to really to be able to apply them to their project, to their work. The one thing that's one of my favorite things is that we are a scheme in UX that also incorporates psychology. We have human perception and psychology in the foundation level of about half a day, where we really teach, bring the basics of how humans think, how they perceive, because every UX professional should also have this.
Yes. May I add to that? One of the main challenges in UX development is you have UX specialists and you have software engineers, and they talk in different languages. They don't understand each other basically. I'm a software engineer, so I'm allowed to say that. Software engineers have difficulties to understand the needs of people. Why? Because they always deal with computers. So a very large portion of the foundation level deals with this challenge. We try to form a language which is understood by both teams, by UX teams and by software engineers. And we show the principles, how those teams work together to finally build products which are usable, or which products which yield a nice user experience.
And I think the next question we're having is also going in this direction, because we have Thomas from Germany asking, is the UXQCC scheme based on international standards? And I think this is exactly what is also there. We are creating a language in there, but it's based on international standards as well, right?
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah, this is very important, because we do want to have a common language, and if we invent something completely from scratch, then it won't really evolve as a common thing. And we use the words that are most common. We do refer to ISO standards, or to the from the W3 V3C for the accessibility guidelines. So we do see what is there and incorporate this also in the trainings, but in a very hands-on, as I already said, fashion.
Yeah. So, and going now a little bit back to history, in fact, the next question from Helen from South Africa is, how did the digital era impact the UI UX interfaces? I think, Robert, you know from the history quite a lot about this, right?
Yes, in the old days, software engineers used to say, if users are not able to use this interface, if they don't understand it, they're not deserving it. So this was the expression of UX. Now this entirely changed, of course, because everything is focused on the user. The user is the one who uses the interface, or the user is the person who doesn't understand the interface. So the digital era had a huge impact. Mobile phones contributed to raising the standards a lot. Everybody expects everything to be as simple as doing it on a mobile phone. Everybody expects to use what we call mental models, which you find in mobile phones on all other devices. And everybody expects not to be hindered by the user interface. And so in the end, what sounds very simple, just make it simple, is a very complex thing. Because in a way, you have to make the interface transparent. The user needs should be transformed directly into action. If you want to book a flight, you want to book a cheap flight or whatever flight, but you don't want to be hindered by the user interface in finding this flight. In the ideal world, you enter the question, you get an answer, you choose, and you book the flight. That's it. As simple as possible. And the way to get there, this is something UXQCC standardizes.
So I'm asking from my personal side, in fact, what would you say is the best usability in the field when it comes to digital era? So which company would you see as the UX company in the world? Can you say something like that? Is it one of
Yes, I think it's still Apple. It's still Apple. And if you carefully compare what Apple does and what other companies basically copy, and sometimes improve. But what Apple does is they really try to have an integral view on everything. For example, if you have the vibration of the iPhone, which indicates no, it's like shaking in this way. So you feel it's no. It's just no. It's not yes, it's no. And other very tiny things, which finally leads to the feeling the device understands what I mean and it communicates in a way I understand. And here we are back to the psychology part. It's absolutely necessary to take account of the human capabilities and what humans basically are not able to do. We cannot remember many things, but I hand it over to Verena. This is much more Verena's field.
You're also thinking that it's Apple, Verena, or you have another idea?
No, I think generally speaking, it is Apple because they really think about things that other companies even don't realize that they should think about. And it's the small, tiny things. And even though it's, I don't have an Apple product, and the marketing is immense behind everything, and they sell things and they sell their quality. But yes, when it comes to UX, they are always this tick better than the others.
But we can clearly say we are not paid by Apple on this,
No.
and so online UXQCC is not paid by Apple. I think that's an important thing to tell you as well.
I want to add something. In the world of cars, it's Tesla.
You think?
Tesla tries to get the position where users just like the car. They just like everything which is built into the car without realizing how much care is taken onto the user experience. If you compare this with General Motors or other companies, you see a huge gap still up today.
And yeah, I think it will take some time. And I think that's also leading to the next question. Peter from USA is asking, what effect will artificial intelligence have on user experience? And I think Tesla is very much also in this era of artificial intelligence and trying to move in there. And I think Apple is doing that as well, right?
Yes.
So what do you think this effect will come from the artificial intelligence then in the UX field?
I think artificial intelligence sometimes is rather misunderstood or overjudged in what it can do. Artificial intelligence is a tool. Artificial intelligence enhances a lot of things a computer can do. So with artificial intelligence tools, you can improve the interface if you have lots of data to evaluate. With artificial intelligence tools, for example, you can even get product descriptions out of text and photos and formed in a way which are consistent with other product descriptions. For example, Alibaba does a lot of that. I just recently had a discussion with a senior executive of Alibaba, and he showed how he did that. So I think artificial intelligence in general will have an improvement. There will be improvements, but it will not solve problems human can solve.
So China will take over when Alibaba is the best one in there?
No, I don't think so. Absolutely don't think so. It's not the product description which finally brings people to buy products. It's completely different, but it's easier to get product descriptions if you can do it with artificial intelligence. But if you watch the user behavior with artificial intelligence tools and you have educated guesses what this user likes, and you send the offer according to these guesses, the chance increases that the user is going to buy products. But the user interface design itself has to be done by people, not by artificial intelligence. There is nothing what can be called intelligence in artificial intelligence. It's a very simple tool, basically.
It's huge data, in fact. But when we are talking about this, is GDPR then a big issue, you think? Or?
There are different opinions on that. It's hard to say yes or no.
Okay. Well,
I think that's one important thing when it won't be maybe that like Robert said in the user experience design, but when it comes to the experience of the user who has to deal with artificial intelligence, maybe without even knowing that it's artificial intelligence who she or he is dealing with and not a person, this is going to be a big issue.
Yes.
Because when people don't realize, am I talking to a machine? Am I talking to a person? Can I trust? Shall I better not trust? This is going to be an immense issue, which is not the user experience design, but the artificial intelligence as a communication partner.
And
Two years ago.
I think we can connect that because we have Krishna from India, and she asked, is the UXQCC focused on ethics in design as well? So, and I think this is exactly going in this direction, right?
Yeah. We are not focused on ethics, but we definitely have parts of in our body of knowledge that we have the psychology also included that deals with ethics. We don't explicitly have a chapter that deals with ethics, but we discuss when we have psychological issues. You can always use them for the best or for the worst, and we have incorporated those psychological things which are not targeted at selling more, at nudging people, but really at making the design more usable, but not at really shaping behavior. And because when we come at really shaping behavior, then we have more of an ethics discussions. So I think we kind of build the grounds for ethic discussions, and we raise awareness, but it's not really an ethics
Yes.
focus.
We have a part which deals with deceptive design, formerly called dark patterns. The cookie question is one of these dark patterns. It's so hard to get rid of the yes answer, and this is a part of ethics design.
Okay. Especially when it comes to artificial intelligence, nevertheless, I think the topic ethics will be a huge one, right? So
yes,
over the next years, we will talk more and more about this as well. Well,
at the moment, when I come back to artificial intelligence, just one sentence. There are companies, especially who deal with lots of users. They have chatbots now, which are based on artificial intelligence, and those chatbots are very good in predefining answers and finally guiding that user to a person who is directly connected to the user if the chatbot doesn't know to get on further. So artificial intelligence really helps. It really helps to structure those user interactions. But in the end, people are everything.
Sure. Well, and I think it's like Verena also said, you have different sides as well. When the person doesn't know anymore, is he speaking to a bot or is he speaking to a person, then you might also get some issues in the next steps, right?
Yes. But usually those chatbots are defined as digital bots. So the user knows, now I'm talking to a bot, which is very important because if you know you're talking to a machine, people know that machines are more simple than humans. You cannot ask complex questions. You ask simple questions, and in the end, it always comes to a final, may I connect you to a person? And that person is dealing with the problem, but it's pre-structured. So in the end, the effort for the company is much lower than answering phone calls.
For sure. So let's move to the next question. John T from Australia asked, is there a certification on UX and testing in the UXQCC scheme, or is testing somehow covered in the UXQCC scheme?
Definitely. We have quite a big portion of our time in the foundation level we spend with testing. In the foundation level, we have the traditional usability testing. On the one hand, if people want to test themselves, what should they do? What are the pitfalls and what's the chances? And also in comparison to, should I test myself or should I hand it over to a laboratory? And in the advanced level, we go into remote testing and tools and all those things. And what comes with testing is the whole issue of metrics and KPIs and cover these also. Yeah.
And with testing, there's something which is very important for software engineers. When it comes to software testing, you do a test, and after the test, you know how to fix the problem. In a usability situation, you do a usability test, you find out it doesn't work, but now the problem starts. So there's a big difference between UX testing and software testing. This is something software engineers need to understand, and this is something we really put focus on. So the creative process, which has to come after the finding, is one of the very important things in the UXQCC chain.
So we can say, Jonty, yes, if you want to learn more about UX and testing, come to the UXQCC scheme and you will learn much more about it.
Absolutely.
The last question goes to UK. It was a little bit interesting question. Ben asked us, do you think that UX is still relevant in an agile world? So do you still think
Robert,
it?
Yes, absolutely, absolutely. The agile world is agile, but the agile world from a software engineering perspective is minimum effort for maximum output. That's it. Minimum effort for maximum output. And there's no user included in agile. In all those agile procedures, it's focused on get the work done. And the tiny steps which are necessary to put in UX, they are missing in agile. So one of the big questions in the software industry now is how to combine agile and UX in a way so they work together, which is somewhat tricky because agile has very short cycles and UX needs longer cycles. So there has to be quite a lot of adaptation. And it's very important that software engineers need basics of UX. And it's also important that UX specialists know basics of software engineering so they can talk to each other.
Yeah, a very interesting point. So that were our questions. That was our Ask Me Anything session. I have to thank Verena. I have to thank Robert that you joined today. And yeah, I think very, very interesting answers on very interesting questions. And thank you to the audience who sent in the questions. We will have another Ask Me Anything session in a month from now. The topic will be shown on the website as usual, and feel free to send in further questions. Verena, Robert, thank you very much. A pleasure to see you, and I wish you a lovely summer. I hope it's not as hot as here in Germany in your place. I think I had 38 degrees today, so pretty hot, right?
Here also, yeah.
Here also, 36 in Vienna.
Yeah.
Okay, in that case, I wish you a hot night and